Hello, welcome to the Spider's Web, and what we have here is what I've done so far with my undead army from Kings of War. These are the zombies, as you may be able to tell, and I've done these a few different ways. I'm going to show you two ways I've done them. One way is fairly simple if you want to get your army on the table quick. And then I've just expanded on the basics. And the other way is the way I've done most of these. But as you can see, I've done different skin tones. They're not all the same. They're not all greenish. Some are greenish, some are brownish, some are very similar to proper skin tone. Well, a realistic flesh tone rather. So how did I do them? Well, let's just move these off camera, and I have these two here which I'm going to show you how I painted them. I do have another one left yet which I'll put to one side and paint that off camera. I'm not showing you how to paint them all because, well, basically once you've seen me paint one, you've seen me paint them all. So we've got two here on the go which are going to be how we painted, well, it's just basically two ways I used to paint these figures. Okay, so first one, let's go with this fella, and what we want is Carrollburg Crimson. So we'll start off with that, and that goes all over the, I would say, rags that are around its waist. I tend to say loincloth, but I don't know whether that would be the right thing to say or not, but I suppose loincloth is as good a word as any to use. So what the hell, let's call it loincloth. Right, so we go all the way over this. As you can see, I have spray painted these. I've primed them in grey, even though they are grey figures anyway. I just didn't want them too dark or too bright, so I've gone with like a mid grey that will still colour using the washes. I'm also going to go over the skull with the Carrollburg Crimson as well. Now there will be a slight difference to the Carrollburg Crimson on the skull. When I finish, I'm just going to have to pop this onto a thingy, an empty pot, so I can hold on to it better. Should have done that before I started, but never mind. Okay, so that's for the loincloth. Next, what we want to use is, this might go knocking the camera, this might surprise you, Drakenhof Nightshade. There we are. And this goes all over the skin of the zombie. This is to pick out the shadows, because how we're going to do this one is quite simply a highlight over the top of this, a dry brushing highlight. As I say, it's quick and easy way of getting these onto the table fairly quickly, and it's what I need for these games, because we're hoping to get a demo game of this done at the Games Club on the 8th of August. It's now the 22nd of August, sorry, it's 22nd of July, and this is the first, shall we say, squad, regiment, whatever, I've actually done out of the 2-player starter set. So I'm going to have to get my backside in gear and painting these if I want to get them done in time for the demo games on the 8th. And I have got something ordered for that night from Mantic Games. Some things you may be interested in. More about that later. And when I say later, I don't mean later on in this video, I mean later on nearer the time, if not in the unboxing videos that I do of my orders. Okay, so that is all we're doing with that for the time being. Okay, so next we have the other zombie, and this is the one we're going to go into a little more detail. A lot more painting involved rather than just doing the washes and then highlighting. Here we're going to be doing base coating and other such silliness, and it's going to be a similar model, gut spilling out from the front there. Instead of holding a head, he's holding a hand and wrist. But we will be mixing paint now. And for this one we'll be mixing Nurgling Green and Dawnstone, and depending how that looks, we may be going into using a bit of white as well. We want a bit of this because it's going to be the base coat for the entire figure, and if I've got any left over I may do the other figure that I said I would do off camera as well. We want a greyish greeny colour for the base coat. I want to take it off the green yeah. Let's make it a lot more green than that, a lot more grey than that. That looks much better. Okay, so I'll just try and get as much paint off the brush as I can, mix in a little bit of water just to keep it fluid, and then it's just slap the paint on the model. So there's the base coat for them done. Okay, now, rats, I forgot. Missed a little bit there. That's when I thought I got it all. Oh well, not to worry. Okay, next step is, we might as well do this now, as I made that slight mistake by not doing the back arm. What we can do now is let's do the loincloth, and for that I'm going to use something that I haven't done so far, but hey, what the hell, we're going to use, when I can find it, Castellan green for the loincloth. I say it's just while I wait for the green parts to dry. We're going to be going over with a wash in a bit anyway, so it's no big deal, no great hurry, or no great what's the word I'm looking for? It's no big deal what I'm doing on this part. It's just a case of colouring in, blocking in colour, so that we know exactly what colours are going where. So the look of the thing, look of the model will change as time goes on, so I'm not saying because I've done this colour that it's going to stay this colour. It may end up blue yet, you never know. It all depends how it looks when the wash has dried. Alrighty then, so that's that part. The wash on the first one still hasn't dried yet, but not to worry. What we're going to do now is white. Well, I bought a new tub of white and I've not a clue what I've done with it, but it's white Scar. I've got a funny feeling that I've got myself all mixed up and thrown the new one away and kept the old one. It won't be the first time I've pulled a stunt like that, and I can't see it being the last either. I'm going to turn this around so you can see what I'm doing. So we have the white going in there, and being mixed into that white is going to be Evil Sun Scarlet. A spot of this, we want a pale pinky colour. There we are. As I say, it's a spot is all we need for this, and again we're going to be adding a touch of water just to make it a bit more fluid, and then this is going to be going where the innards of the zombie is on display, shall we say. So definitely where all the guts are hanging out here. We have a little bit there. In fact, that's bone, isn't it? So we don't want that going in. There is a little bit there. That looks like bone as well. There's a little bit there. There's definitely some there. And there. And the fat of that should be the flesh area, not part of the ujit. What's the word I'm looking for? Not part of the loincloth. So while I'm waiting for that to dry, I'm just going to go over the areas here that need doing. First of all, on the thigh here, and we don't want a very thick coating of this, thin as possible. That's why I've added water, quite a good bit of water to this, because I want it quite fluid. And there's not actually much to go with on this, but That looks about right as well. Yeah, and we will be, again, as always, we will be changing that. There will be other colours added. Alright, so we'll put that to one side now, and we'll get the first wash on the model, which will be Druchia Violet. And that will be going on the areas where I put the pink. And we want a decent amount in there. We want to make it look as though there is something going on. And we'll put some in there as well, because that is going to be bone later on, so I want something to darken that up a bit. There should have been some in there. I've missed that part. Never mind, not vitally important. I've missed somewhere. No, I haven't. That's supposed to be bone as well, so I'll do that. And that looks like it should be bone as well, so I'll go over there. Okay, so that's the Druchia Violets wash on that one. I'll give that a few minutes to dry, and add the Druchia Violet wash to this one. I'm not going to bother even attempting to keep the tub out for the wash, because there's not all that much needed on here, and should have enough on the brush, and indeed I have. So that's the Druchia Violet wash completed. The next wash that's going to go on them can go on right about now. Doesn't make a difference if it's mixes in or not, and that's the Drakenhof Nightshade. And I'll put you two on side, because this is the one we're actually focusing on. So how's that first one doing now? We may be able to get doing a little bit of highlighting on that. Not quite. Oh well. So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to give these a chance to dry. Right, so these are the ones I did painting, and this is the one I did with washes. Okay, so what I need to do first of all with the one with the wash is mix our pink colour once more. So that's with the white. I'll go back to GW tomorrow and get some more white. I'd love to know what I've done with that tub I bought. And a little spot of red in there, just to make it that nice pale pinky colour. So we're not looking for anything really bright and lurid. Bit of water in the mix. And let's get in here with the painting. So we're actually doing a mix of washing and painting for this particular one. Well, we're doing that for all of them, but what I mean in this case is rather than just painting, then doing a wash over it and then painting again, we're doing the washes as part of the main colour and then painting to add the colour to it later. And I'm not going too strict with where I'm putting the colour, because again I can always go back over with paint and washing. That's not the big issue with this technique. Okay, next what we're going to be doing is mixing up yet more colour, and this time it's going to be, got picked up the wrong one, it's going to be Screaming Skull. Okay, and a touch of Dawnstone. There we go. And take the Dawnstone. Now that will be a creamy grey colour, not too dissimilar to the actual green that we applied as the base coat for the previous, or for the other figures. Okay, so wash our brush out now and then switch to our dry brush, which is a new brush I've started using. I found it really great for doing dry brushing, surprisingly enough, as that's what it's for. It's just the GW medium dry brush, and all we do is just apply a dry brush all over the figure, and I mean all over the figure. We aren't doing highlights as yet. This is to imply the actual colour of the flesh, not the highlight colour. And so we go all over, and it's just the fleshy areas that we're going over. We're not going over the pinky areas, we're not going over the loincloth, and we'll even go over the skull as well. What the heck. There we go. And again we'll just do down here on the leg. Missed a bit with the pink, never mind. Unfortunately I don't have any more left, so I'm going to have to mix a little more of the pink, but I may have to do that anyway, so I'm not really too fussed at the moment. It's just a case of get the colour on the model. There we are. Okay, so that's the dry brushing stage of that over with.